Opportunities for career growth in IT industry. I am pleased to introduce our guest speaker for today, Mr. Sami Anand. Mr. Sami is an experienced assistant professor, also assistant dean, with a demonstrated history of working in the education management industry. Mr. Sami is working for over a decade now. He is skilled in cloud computing, process automation, mobile application development, student skill development, programming, lecturing, and curriculum development. Mr. Sami is a strong advocate for using technology to improve education. Everyone, please let us welcome Mr. Sami Anand with your warm virtual applause. Over to you, sir. Sami, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Arpit, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. When given the topic and when I discussed with the team that this is the topic that we want to go on, it's a very complicated topic to understand because IT industry has grown leaps and folds over the years. And not just that, the domains have come up in multitudes, I would say. I'll be talking about those multitudes, and then I will be talking about the specific career aspects. Now, to set the tone right for this, I'll first talk about the agenda is very pretty simple, small. We'll have an overview of computer science domains which exist, and then the career opportunities in this multiple domains. When I say career is a big word. The job is a small word. Career stands for where you want to end up in maybe next 30, 35 years, 20, 25 years of your life. Now, a job can be a teacher. Where do you end up as a teacher? You end up as an assistant professor, associate professor, vice chancellor. So there are multiple ways to grow and end up in that particular domain. In similar terms, in IT industry, every particular domain has those growing steps where you start from and where you end. So we'll be talking about those career opportunity of the final pinnacle, and then which opportunities lies between them and what are the salaries that you're looking at. The main important, the catchy point, the salary, and what is the median salaries that are offered in India, because at times we look at salaries offered in very large numbers, but at times those are the salaries which are in context of foreign salaries converted into Indian rupees. So we'll be talking about more over in the Indian aspects, and all of this discussion that I'm going to do, the complete presentation, the numbers are all through the internet. It's available. You can also do a simple search and get all of this data as well. So there's nothing extraordinary put in. These research portals are there. From those portals, these data has been conferred. Okay. Now let's talk about the overview of computer science domain. The theory part you can read. If you look on the right side, if you look at this entire circle, these are all the areas which are there in computer science: computer vision, smart machines, cloud, web scale IDs. Computer science has each and every domain having every domain specific skills needed, and there is a career in each and every domain that exists. Now, let's take an idea and discuss a few. So data, the analytics one, has been going a lot because there's a lot of data generated every minute, every second, and that data needs to work on. And that's the current war going on between, if you look at Google versus Microsoft Bing, there's a lot of in the news. So Microsoft says that Google has dominant because it's the default search engine and because it's the biggest business. Why? Because it's generating a lot of data. Your search history gives a lot about what you're looking at, what do you want, what are your aspirations. And you search about products, those products recommendations go to, online e-commerce websites. And then you're able to see on Facebook, Insta, and all of the other places, those same products with certain discounts, which, engages you to buy those products maybe. So data and analytics of data is growing like anything because if someone knows you, they know you by their data. And that's how it is in IT. IoT is going a lot. Automotive industry is looking at IoT as next thing because autonomous driving, managing all of the buzzwords that you hear right now with Mahindra, Tata coming up with ADAS, it's all driven by sensors. If you look at what ADAS is, the driving autonomous system, you would see it uses a lot of sensors which pulls in data, and based on that data, the car takes a decision. So ADAS, again, IoT plus analytics, data. Now, when all of this we are talking about data and everything, security comes in every place of computer science that we talk about. And all of this is governed by a software which is written, which takes in the data from the sensors, applies some logic, and based on that, it takes some decision, and then the system acts accordingly. And to execute all of this, we need web of scale. To support web of scale, we need cloud computing because cloud is where everything gets executed. So in a way, they're all connected, but have a complete dominance in particular domain. So cloud, you cannot say this cloud is a part, so cloud is not relevant. Cloud is very relevant. It's the backbone. You can't say software is a domain, so it's software is we can remove software. No. So everyone is linked to each other and everyone has their specific skill sets needed, and they have created that dominance of everything because everything is dependent on each other. Now let's go one by one. So what I've done is, rather than talking about, if I talk about all the domains, if I talk about all the areas and all the careers, it will take us a long hours. What I have done is I have come up with top 10 career paths which are there, the most relevant one in the current domain of computer science. We'll discuss that over the next 40-45 minutes. And then at the end, we'll talk about the question Q&A that you have. Now, if you look at the very first one, which is a software engineer, the biggest salary package, it's there. And these are all in-hand salaries. So if you look at on the right side, if you look at, there is something known as base salary, bonus, profit sharing, total pay. This is what talks about how you get a salary income in IT industries. Now, in IT industry, the salaries are base salary, which comes in your pocket. Bonuses, if you achieve a target. Profit sharing, if the company makes certain profit, you get certain part of it. And then it makes out to the total pay. And that's how the average base salary is decided. Now, if you look at principal software engineer, the name is principal software engineer. That's the career of principal software engineer. You may start as a basic software engineer, which in nowadays are SDEs 1, then SDE 2, then SDE 3, then maybe a software architect, then becoming a principal software engineer. So the growth cycle is there in principal software engineer a lot. And if you want to understand what they do, you read the second line. These are responsible for scaling projects efficiently while maximizing performance and productivity and minimizing cost. Now, let's take a recent example of all of this. The Cricket World Cup is going on. So what better than that? The Cricket World Cup ticketing rights were given in India to Book My Show. And most of you who are cricket lovers would have tried to get your hands onto those tickets of Indian matches. If you go on Book My Show right now, you will see a lot of other matches which are there. Those tickets are available, but all the Team India matches there, they're sold out. How did they do that? How did they sell these tickets? They opened them in phased manner. On 30th of September, X tickets would open for India's matches in so and so location. The warm up matches are so and so. On 1st of October, the matches which are to be held in Delhi, maybe Chennai, that would open. The matches of India that are to be held in Hyderabad, an X location will be opened. And then the India-Pakistan match in Ahmedabad would be opening on a single day. So they knew the traffic would come. If they open all these tickets on one single day, what would have happened? People from all over the country would have jumped onto the platform at the same point of time, whether they are booking for Chennai, Delhi, Mumbai, anywhere. And it would be a nightmare for Book My Show to manage because they would need data warehouses, cloud computing of enormous size, which they cannot support. So what they did, they knew the traffic would be there, so they divided the traffic. That is what is maximizing performance and productivity, minimizing the cost. Because it is divided over days, the same infrastructure would be able to support. You do not need a large infrastructure, large scaling methodologies to manage that. So they did this in a very intuitive manner. That's what project engineers decide that, okay, this is how we are going to execute. And the codes are written accordingly. The software engineers plan this accordingly. And the problem solving capability, which is the most important part of a software engineer, works out. Sure, they divided, though yes, the ticket numbers were less and the fans in India are more. So still there was challenges to book tickets, but some of them got, some of them did. but still the website was able to book tickets easily because of dividing and strategizing of how to maximize performance and how to get productivity. And for all of this, you have to write codes, and that's what software engineer does. If you look at the average salary, it's a healthy one. 23 lakh rupees is the average salary when you can have, and even at a fresher level, these salaries are there. So these salaries are a median between software engineers starting salaries and the salaries which they can get in the next 3 or 5 years. So if you are looking for a career switch from your current job, if you're looking for starting with a career, you can opt for principal software engineer. That's one. Similar to this is the next one, software architect. So principal software engineers will do, and software architect will design the coding, the tools, the frameworks, which to take up, how to work with, which platforms on these it would work. And based on those concepts and ideas, they would work and manage and monitor, execute all of those. The salaries are similar. There's a very thin line of difference between the work that an architect does and the work that a principal software engineer does. It's moreover similar, but a thin line of difference as per the technology, because the software engineer will not decide the tools, but the software architect will decide the tools. They will decide which particular language of coding to be used. They will decide which database is going to be used. They would decide whether it's going to be a desktop application or a mobile application, how you would work on mobile, how you would work on desktop, how to synchronize all of those. These are the decisions taken by a software architect. Hence, there's not a lot of difference between the salary, similar salary pay gaps, and a very healthy career I would talk about. Now, within this, if you talk about product managers, software engineers, marketing experts are similar, which are some stages through which you go through becoming a software architect. Now, computer scientist. This is something which is, I would say, a very upcoming job role which is there, which was not there earlier, but has, I would say, jumped up a lot. And there is a lot of cohesion in this particular job role. Now, what is a computer scientist? The name scientist always comes up. There would be a lot of research, and that's right. Scientist means they research with areas which are not relevant right now, but they're trying to solve some of those problems to bring those areas into condition. And an example of it, which is mentioned here, AI, VR, and robotics. So if you look at earlier, I can give you an example right now. The Amazon Big Billion Day sale is going on. The Flipkart Big Billion Day Amazon Great Indian Festival, sorry, is going on. A lot of you would have not tried this, but right now, if you have, let's say, 2 minutes, let's do a practical, and then we can have people answering whether how did they get the answer or not. So whether it's practical. So let's look at a VR. All of you, if you have your phones with you, and in your phones, if you have Amazon app installed or a Flipkart app installed, preferably on Amazon, it works a bit faster than Flipkart. So I would prefer if you open up your Amazon shopping apps and search for any TV. Search for maybe a Samsung 4K TV. And when you search for the TV, there would be an option to look at how does it look on your wall. So there would be an AR option, augmented reality option. If you click on that button, I can show you on the phone how does that button look up. I'll open up my Amazon app. I'll search for a TV and I'll show you that button. And then you have to just do one thing. Point that phone, your phone, towards a wall where you want to put up the TV, and it will show you how the TV would look on that wall. Okay, I've just searched for a Samsung 4K TV. So I've got a Samsung 4K TV on this. So see, if you look at, there is an option mentioned. My phone is not visible because of, I think so, the background, virtual background that I'm using. But just under this TV image, you would have an option view in your room. So when you click on that view in your room button, it will tell you how the TV would look up exactly in your room. It will open up your camera. It will ask the access. You will have to just point it to a wall and you would be able to see how does it look. Did anyone try that? Yes, a lot of you are saying yes. Great. So, did you know about this option before? My next question, did you know about such an option exists in Amazon and you will be able to check how the TV looks? And this is a technology which is called as augmented reality. So a very small feature and it helps you a lot. So it's something similar is being developed by Amazon stores. You would walk into a store, you will stand in front of a mirror, you will choose a clothing lineup, you will choose which size it is, and it will show you how it would fit you based on how you're looking in the mirror. So augmented reality is something which is coming up a lot. And this is where never someone thought of it that from home, you would be able to visualize that how a TV would look on a wall. But computer scientists made that possible with augmented reality. Obviously, virtual reality was there, but that the next step is coming out augmented reality. A lot of things are now coming up in the augmented reality mode because people want to experience is how they would look in the real environment. A lot of games are coming up in augmented reality mode. So it's all computer scientists job roles where they are defining such things. And based on these definitions, they come up, they feed, they search, and they come up with area. Now augmented reality is a job role. It becomes a software developer's choice that they want to become an augmented reality developer. And for computer sciences, that's the base package that you can look at. Moving forward, the next one, it's an IT project manager. A lot of students have this notion that it is a non-technical job, and that is why I have put it into this. An IT project manager is not non-technical, but it's a cross-functional role. It requires technical, it requires better communication skills, I would say. Communication skills, as in not speaking in English, but delivering the message in a correct manner. So maybe I need a button on my website which does an X things, but if I'm not able to share that thought with the software developer in a correct manner, it would become an issue because they would put up a button that would work in some different manner than my expectation. So a lot of projects fail because the project managers are the ones who are there to coordinate between the IT team and the team, which is going to tell us what they need, what does need to be developed. And if they are not able to communicate the message properly, the project fails. And it's a very niche area and domain where I definitely say everyone should look at. Though the base salaries look less in the initial years, which is there in front of you, but it has a very good role over the years because you are able to understand the technical part. You're also the one who is able to understand the client. You're also able to understand how to communicate. And if you see a growth of someone who becomes a CEO, CTOs, and CEOs of a company, they would have done IT project manager role once for sure in their lifespan of growth. Why? Because that's how you understand technology and that's how you understand how to run a technology. And that's how you need how to manage things. And that's where the skills come in. Then this is something which is a very upcoming, I would say, job role and specific to Indian context. Why I'll talk about it. And this is something which is related to cloud computing. Now, site reliability engineer was not a job role for Indians basically because there were very less data centers in India. If I go back, let's say 5 years from now, there would be hardly any job roles for site reliability engineer. But if in the current context I talk about, a lot of upcoming data warehouse and data centers are there in India. Why? Because of certain policies that the government has kicked in, that every company who's working with data, they needs to have servers in India. The data first needs to be processed within the Indian government boundary, and then they can take it outside. The obviously the main copy has to stay within Indian borders, and this is a very big debate which is going on, and it is there. But because of that, people understanding because of the Indian ecosystem, which is growing like anything, you would need the Indian market because of its sheer strength that it carries and you cannot ignore it. So having a data center in India becomes far more evident. Earlier, For even Facebook, you did not have a data center in India. The nearest data center was in Singapore. So a lot of companies which did not have data centers are now building data centers in India. The growth of this data center and the fiber optical network around the country has given a lot of growth to site reliability engineers. These are the ones who are, making sure that everything runs smoothly, the tasks are handled smoothly, they are able to fix every properly. And the major point is they have to reply on a real time basis. So it's a job which will never have the same kind of challenge every time. You would have a new challenge every time. It's an exciting job role, I would say. Moving forward, this is something we'll talk about a lot because data science growing a lot. Though I'll talk about the history of data science, when it went down, and then when you can look at data science, coming back into picture. So what happened with data science is that data science boom post the internet boom in India in 2016. There was a big data science boom that happened. That a lot of data was generated. So a lot of data scientists, the need of data scientists came in. A lot of data people were needed to organize that data, manage that data, and then take up solutions for that data, and then analyze that data and come up with exciting ways on how to monetize that data. So it happened a lot. But with pandemic coming in, there was a lot of need of development and projects to come up. So a lot of focus was shifted to project, and data science went down a bit because there was need to develop new softwares, new methodologies to help people work remotely. The jobs which were thought that they cannot work remotely, where do we put on remote mode? So a lot of development roles come up, and hence the development cycle shot up, which was already growing but rode up exponentially. And that's where we saw the growth of hiring that happened in the IT industry. And this growth is going on right now. But within next 2 years, by 2025, you could say, what would happen is all the development cycles would reach to a stagnant phase where a lot of development is done and only certain niche developments would keep on growing. But a lot of things are already developed in last 2 to 3 years, and some of them will be completed by next or maybe next 2 years. When the entire architect, the software is there ready, the next thing is the data that would be generated by these softwares to be looked at, and how to manage this data, how to utilize this data, and how to monetize this data. And hence, within next 1 or 2 years, there would be another boom that will come for data science. Why? Because now those softwares are there, everything is placed, but there's a lot of data to come in, what to do about that data, how to use that data, manage it, structure it, and utilize it is going to be there. And hence, there will be another data science boom that would come in. And that's where data engineering job roles come in. You start as a maybe junior data developer, junior data scientist, and then eventually grow up in a few years and get to a position of data engineer. And it's one of the most important fields which would be evergreen, which will never go out. Yes, the fluctuation of data would be there, but data is something which is going to be there. Everything would be run on data. If you look at how the transformation of the developed countries have happened, and the growth story that our country is following to get into that developed arena, is all dependent on data, be it Aadhaar, be it PAN cards, be it how you process your I would say income tax, how you go for a lot of authentication. So your digi uh, sorry M-Vahan applications, where you can have all of your data for your vehicle, and you do not need to carry those documents anymore. All of thing is verified online. A police inspector, stopping you, do not needs to check your data physical. They can just put in your car number in the app, and they can know whether all of the data is correct or not, whether maybe your insurance is outdated or your pollution is outdated. They can just do it with a entry of a number. Whose car is it? What's name it is? Everything can be checked by them in one go, which was not possible earlier, which is there in developed countries. But now it's there in your. How all of this is done? Again, data engineers, which structure the data, manage it, and create ways of utilizing it. Now the dots can be connected with everything that is there. So data engineers in Indian context will grow a lot in the years to come, and the boom would be there visible within the next 2 years. Now let's shift to a bit another different job domain, which is under security. So one of the roles under security which is growing is IT security consultant. Consultant does not sound like a job role or a career, but it is one of the best roles. Even a software consultant is there. Though it is not picked up in India, but software consultants are growing. The job role is growing like anything in countries like Israel, which is a very developed country, US, UK, and the Europe continent. How and why? Because consultants do not work with one company, but works with multiple companies. And when they work with these multiple companies, they consult on how the data should flow. They consult on how the security aspects needs to be in place. They look at your infrastructure and tell you that, okay, this is something good, this is something wrong. These are the vulnerabilities which you need to plug. This is how you can plug them. These are the hardwares which are outdated, which are you could say prone to attacks. You can use up new hardwares which are not prone to even hardware, certain hardware hacks, I would say. So they come up, they look at your infrastructure, they look at how the system works, and they look at these vulnerabilities which can be there and figure out those vulnerabilities and inform so that people can bug. So you would have heard about a lot of bug bounties which are coming up with multiple different companies. They give you option to come up, explore their website or a software and come up with bugs, and then they pay people to find those bugs and then they fix those bugs because this is how everyone understand because they people in a company thinks in a different manner. They have developed a software so that they think in a particular manner and are giving it out to the user to use. When it goes into users usage, there are different use cases that come up. These use cases are the places where these kind of bugs would generate. When these bugs come up, bugs reported, and it's a very important bug, they pay you. And that's what IT security consultants do on a regular basis. Healthy salary, growth, good, because security is never going to go out with more and more softwares coming in, with more and more applications coming in. The security needs is going to grow like anything. Okay. This is something which has started booming in India, which is DevOps engineer. This role would grow like anything. Why? Because earlier the development was not done in India. Indians were generally doing jobs in software industry of maintaining, updating, cleaning, or I could say testing, updation of softwares. Developments were generally done in countries like US, UK, other places where they had their main offices. Now, understanding the need of the software industry because it's driven by a lot of Indian engineers, they understood that no, we are doing it wrong because it's not possible to get in every software engineer to a local place to get the work done. So we would have to do development out there as well. When development shifted to India, the role of DevOps engineer came in. So the full form is DevOps Development Operations. So how a particular software is conceptualized, how it would be created, tested, then again tested, checked, maintained, and how it would go into production, and then how it would be hosted. Plus, after hosting, what are the challenges that you see in running in day-to-day basis? Everything will be taken into account. This entire cycle, which is there for software to start by the time it is deployed, and then issues which come in real time, basic ones to be fixed, is what it is called DevOps engineer. Though this role was not there earlier, but it is going to boom. Why? Because again, as I said, data centers coming in India, job roles coming in India, these shift which is there now coming up with the IT sector in India is giving these new job roles a push, a very big push. So hence, DevOps engineer is something which is coming up a lot. And what do you need to do become a DevOps engineer? Because it's a new field, I'll talk about it a bit. There are tools which come up there are tools which are there for development. There are tools which are there for testing. There are tools which are there for maintenance. There are tools there for synchronization. I'll take a name of the few you would have heard about it. Dockers, Kubernetes, Jenkins. There's a lot of tools by Atlassian which are there in DevOps. So Atlassian is one of the great players which come in DevOps engineering and pays a lot. Kafka is there. So there are a lot of tools which are there in DevOps which you need to understand and master, which helps you work with them the development of a project And that's how you run the entire show. And from DevOps engineer, you can graduate to IT project management, and from there you can graduate to maybe a CEO, CTO, or you can even graduate to software architect. So these are all the opportunities how you can grow from a DevOps engineer to further roles. System analyst, this is something which is a part of, I would say, a basic analyst as someone in cloud and data put together. These are the people who evaluate what are the changes that are needed in a system based on maybe the input, the bugs reported, if an outdated system is going on, based on reports that come up, how a system is to be worked, what are the challenges that they see in, there's a change that is required in a particular methodology of a software to be used. So they look up all of these. They create those troubleshoots which you have in your systems and with softwares that if you do this, a particular problem could be taken care of. It's a very entry level role, but helps a lot. So yes, system analyst is something which you can look at, and it has been there since long in the Indian context. So it's a very niche startup role which is there, which you can look at. And then the one which is growing like anything, cybersecurity engineer. It is something similar to what we talked about as an IT security consultant, but there are further more jobs which are, I would say, tasks which are added for a security engineer. They just do not look at, analyze, and report bug. They prepare methodology so that any kind of threats and vulnerabilities which are detected in real time can also be tackled with. So something which is already not there. So cybersecurity engineer needs to understand machine learning as well, because they come up with methodologies where they say that, okay, if even a similar kind of threat, which is not recorded by the system, comes up, this system will be able to take care of it. And that's how cybersecurity engineers need are growing. Why? Because with techniques and tools coming up, to crack systems, the system needs to respond to them in real time. And that's where security engineer comes in. An IT security audit will just tell you the vulnerabilities. Security engineers would come up and apply solutions to that, as well as make the system safer by saying a similar kind of threats. If generated, the system can take care of it on its own. So these are all different, I would say, prospects where you can look at. We will be talking about Q&A. If you have any other domain where you want to talk about the questions that you have, we'll talk about those. So the context of all of these areas, why I wanted to share was because these are the ones which are growing in the context of India right now. And when you're looking at job roles, you can look into these job roles properly. Obviously, there are a number of offshore opportunities in each of these roles to go onshore at a particular company where you are, employed, and then you can go to that company's client role and work there as well. But you need to understand in context that how these roles are growing, why these specific roles to target. That's where I'll put the presentation on hold with respect to this, and let's open up for Q&A. Anyone who has a query, you can put it into the Q&A section, and we can take the Q&A from there. Ashutosh, when will placement starts? I think so. Someone from the ODL team can take that question because you'd be the one. Okay, what all things we should know in cybersecurity? A good question, Krishna. In cybersecurity, Krishna, there are tools. There are vulnerability assessment tools. There are penetration testing tools. So there's a very good website which is pentest.in. So you can type pentest on Google. It will take you to that web page. So it's a very good tool for penetration testing. That is how you are looking into a system, going inside the system, trying to find vulnerabilities and cracking a system. So it would have multiple layers at which network layer you can attack, how you can attack at a particular point in a system. All of those details are there. So I would say you start from the basic networking skills, which are there to understand, then graduate to vulnerability assessment, and then graduate to penetration testing. And then you can graduate to bugs and looking at how to solve those areas and come up with solutions. So that is how you can grow to become a cybersecurity engineer. I hope I was able to answer that question. Okay, AI and data related role. Good question, Palab. You would be thinking, why did not I put up AI roles? Which because everyone is talking about a lot of AI ML stuff. So at this point of time, a lot of career growth in AI ML in this current context in the next 2 to 3 years is growing at a very slower pace because for AI ML, there's a lot of data that is needed. And the current job roles which are there in AI ML are with respect to data science. So they need people who can come in, structure that data, submit that data for through which a machine can take in that data, learn from it, and then the artificial algorithms can apply that algorithms to use that data and give out the answer to people. So what is happening is if you look at Chat GPT, if you read about it properly, it can give you data up to a certain date in 2021 because all of that data is punched into the Chat GPT system. So if you search for something in Chat GPT, the data would be outdated till 2021. But if you upgrade and pay for it, then it will give you in real time as well. The real time answer at times can be wrong because it is picking up and the data might not be structured. So there's a lot of job roles in AI ML, but they are more related to data at this point of time. With respect to algorithm and large language models, the roles are only with experienced folks. So a fresher to enter would have to enter at a very entry level is where I skip those roles, I would say. Okay, Vilash. It's another good question. What is the difference between data scientist and data analyst? So data scientist is someone, Avilash, who creates the data engineering pipeline and then defines with the data analyst how that pipeline would work. So data scientist is not just someone who will analyze the data and give you the result, but someone who defines the entire journey of the data. So let me give you an example. In the current context, you do something on your phone, how that data should be recorded, how it should be structured to get to a system, then how the logic should be applied to monetize and utilize that data is what data scientist does. And then the data analytics person work on that data to use it for the purpose that is there. So let's take an example. You do some search on a particular search window, maybe Google, maybe Bing, maybe ChatGPT. How that data that you search is to be categorized, which category to be put in, and then how that data needs to be shared with different parties who would look at the data in a structured manner. Then they can consume that data. And then a data analyst would look at that consumption and decide that, okay, it's an advertisement related data. I can give advertisement based on this search history to this user because this user is connected to another interface, maybe Facebook, Insta, Twitter, and so on and so forth, and where I can send him the recommendations. So a data scientist comes up with the entire pipeline of data usage, whereas data analysts focus on consumption and analyzing the data and taking decision based on those data which is there. Okay, how can we make career in full stack web development, Kiranpreet? Good. Kiranpreet, I would say please work on that. But I will say the full stack web development is a small domain which is there right now. Sorry, it's a big domain there right now, but for a small time span. Why I'm saying a small time span with this AI ML, the very first domain that they will impact is full stack web development. Within next 3 to 5 years, you would say it would be very easy. So what happened with the website development would happen with full stack web development. So website development was a big job role. If you talk about starting 2000s to early 2015-16, with internet penetration getting better, what happened was there were websites that came up in which you can create websites like this in a snap. You just need to fill in basic details. The generator website developer would develop a website and give it to you, and then you can edit it in your manner, and your website is ready. which used to take a lot of long time. Now with things like ChatGPT, generative AI coming in to generate a web page, a complete web development page with even backend capabilities is getting worked on. So a basic website can be developed not just with front end, but with backend capabilities, which it can work on. So yes, if you want to full stack, the current stack which is mostly used is MERN, which is Mongo, Express, React, and Node. Mongo is a Mongo database which is used. Express is used for HTML, CSS, which is there for designing. Then comes in your React and Node. React takes care of the front end development and Node takes care of the back end development. So if you do these technologies clubbed with APIs, so API is very important for a full stack developer. So understanding API lifecycle is something which is very important. How to create an API, utilize API, call APIs, maintain APIs. All of this is very much important. So if you're learning, learn MERN stack. I'm repeating again: Mongo, Express, React, Node. React and Node are JS, React.js, Node.js. Along with it, APIs. So you can learn any ways of that. The one which is most prominent right now is the Postman API. You can learn that. And if you have completed this cycle, you're good to go as a MERN stack, full stack web development. Until no, OpenAI will not replace jobs, but it will help people do work faster. So what is going to happen is if people do not embrace the technology, they will be out of that particular thing. Why? Because it will make certain jobs a bit faster. As I said, full stack web development. People who know how to use OpenAI for full stack web development will be able to create business out of it, will be able to generate projects like this, and will be able to create better opportunities there. But there will be still complex web development that needs to be done, which ML and AI will never be able to do. So you will need to upgrade yourself. For small tasks, you would need to embrace AI, and that's how the AI would go in and would be able to work in. But if you think AI will completely replace, no, that's not going to happen. Okay, we have the next question. Which cloud is the best according to the market? So, uh, I will say it's a very tricky question, Krishna, because there are multiple things which are there. Uh, in current context, if you look at market capitalization, AWS has the maximum market capitalization. Second comes Microsoft Azure. Third comes Google Cloud, which is growing like anything. And then there are small market players which are there like Oracle Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, VMware, and so on and so forth. So if you look at which one to go for, there's a lot of work already done in AWS Cloud, and there are a lot of resources available in AWS Cloud. So in my understanding, if I go in AWS Cloud, there's a lot of competition already there and a lot of people experience working there. Whereas if I go in Microsoft Azure Cloud, because with OpenAI coming in, with ChatGPT coming in, it's all going to execute over cloud and the cloud requirement is going to grow. People who want to embrace the ChatGPT and generative AI would need resources, and the company who's delivering it is Microsoft. The integration would be through Microsoft Azure. So if you go for Microsoft Azure certifications or if you go for Google Cloud certification, that's the area where resources are less available. So doing that would be more beneficial for you in terms of getting jobs and growth in jobs. Once you have learned any of the cloud, it's very easy to switch to another cloud. So if you have learned Google, it becomes easy to shift to either Azure or AWS. Vice versa is also possible because the logic remains the same. The name of the technology, which AWS calls it EV2, would be virtual machine in some, would be others in other. So the nomenclature changes, the logic, the basic idea remains the same. So for me, if you ask, Microsoft Azure or GCP should be the one looking at it, you should go for because you're going at a fresher level. And if experienced, then AWS is the right place to go. The certification which I can recommend for full stack is a MongoDB certification, which is given by MongoDB University. So you can go to MongoDB's official website and then go into MongoDB University. You can learn for free from there and then attempt the MongoDB. So you can try for that. So scope for MBA plus BCA, as I talked about, IT project management roles. This is the best blend because understanding computers, understanding management, IT project roles are the right ones where you can go for. Someone as an anonymous attendee asked this question. You have more interest in analytical analysis. Currently, I'm doing online MCA, having experience 5 years in back office, now in IT working, something related to SQL. How will I improve? So Palab, you seems to have good experience, and as you're doing MCA, I would say you start embracing Python and you start embracing Excel because that would help you a lot with database, and Excel is going to be evergreen, never going to run out of need. And with growing need of data management, the basic level starts with Excel. So you can do that and then gradually graduate to maybe, other kinds of databases which are there, which will help you manage the task better, I would say. Okay, Kavita. I said the non-IT background students having now doing an IT degree, Kavita can go for IT project management role. Yes, Krishna, Google is currently cheaper than AWS because whenever you come new into the market, you would have to keep cost less to attract more customers. That's how it works out. Will there be placement again for that? I think so. Someone from the ODL team will answer. Which is the programming language has best future? Hari, so programming language, if you look at a lot of systems which have been developed, are still running on those C language. Some are still learning on mainframes, which you would have not even heard about. So it's not that it would phase out. The future is about how to integrate the old technology with the new technology, because changing something which is working is a bit difficult because there's a lot of complexity involved. So let me take an example for it for you. So if you go to a railway station to book a ticket, they're still using that old interface where the code is done in C programming, and you can, get a ticket book and it's all the same old UI which is done. But with IRCTC online, you can book it in a, very exciting manner through that app. But how to integrate both is the challenge which IRCTC solved, and hence is the market leader in ticket booking. So the future is always about integration rather than changing and looking at the next thing. So integration is something we should look at. Learning one good programming language, it makes it easy to go for any language, because basically programming language is nothing syntax. Logic remains same from one to other programming language. So the concepts which we call as OOPS, object-oriented programming, remains the same. If the concepts are clear, how one concept is executed in C++, Java, then in Python, then in Golang, it can be easily understood. The most upcoming programming language, if you ask about, is Golang. Okay, you're non-IT background pursuing MSc IT. So MSc IT, you're learning basic IT skills because it depends on which kind of career, Isha, you want to go for. So you can look at all those. I'll share this presentation, and I think so the ODL team will share it with you. So IT project management, as I said, is something for people with good technical and non-technical both understanding can go for. Okay, Krishna, you're AWS certified. That's great. Yes, for certification, yes, you can have option. We have tie up with AWS Academy. But again, the certification discounts are not there by AWS for Indian context. They are only offer certification discounts in certain countries like Brazil, I think so, and some of few other countries. But they do not talk about specific, I would say, uh, discounts for Indian context. For Microsoft Azure, and again, the learning is free, but the cost of certification is again there for students. Yes, there's a discount which can directly be taken from the Microsoft website, Saurabh. So Isha, I discussed which skills for non-IT pursuing MSc IT. IT skills you are learning in MSc. Non-IT skill is basically management, how to communicate and everything, which is why I am recommending again and again the IT project management to you. You can look at that, and that is a career you can go for. React Native versus Flutter. again, the debate is still going on there, I would say, Abhishek. So Flutter again is there, but React Native is also giving a lot of traction. Given that a lot of full stack development is happening through Stack and React Native, people want their websites to be responsive, so they build a website which can be also doubled up as an application. I would recommend you can start with React Native, but don't lose out on Flutter. It's almost the logic again, I say same. So you can go for Flutter after that as well, but you can start with React Native. Full stack developer as a fresher. I already answered that, Vivek. I said Stack is the one you should prefer. Mongo, Express, React, Node, clubbed with understanding of APIs, how APIs work, how to use APIs in full stack, how to embrace the API lifecycle is something which you need to understand. For that, I recommended Postman. You can go to Postman website. There's a Postman University. Again, all the courses are free. You can enroll for that. MCA first semester, I joined Emphasis, I joined ACI, PBO. Suman Kumar Gupta, I could say that because you're completing your MCA, again, you can create one of these career prospects which I talk about. You have to decide which domain you're looking for because you have a good background in banking and financial. I would recommend you again look at IT project management because there are a lot of banking and financial applications that are being developed, and there's a huge scope for people who understand IT industry and the financial sector as well. So you can look into that. I'm doing MCA web development. I did BCA before that, which is should I go for MTech in web development or should I take bootcamp for this? If you have done BCA and both of them are in web development, I would recommend you go for MTech in something in AI ML. Because further moving down in web development, the next thing would be embracing AI ML. So it's better that you learn that technology while you are at it. And web development can all because you have already done a lot during your MCA and I think so BCA. So you can also work it around on the sidelines, Kiranpreet. So can we switch from QA to DevOps? Definitely, Khatri. Devang, you can switch from QA to DevOps, and that's the right switch to make because QA is a very skewed domain of only, doing a basic uh, assurance role, quality assurance role, whereas DevOps has quality assurance, testing, all of it. So for learning and switching, you will not need a lot of things, but you'll just need to go through a few tools. You can start with Docker, then go for Kubernetes, then go for Jenkins, Puppet, Kafka. And if you complete all of this cycle, you'll be able to easily move into DevOps. The learning materials are again available for a lot of free on multiple websites. Atlassian is what you can look at and start from there. Can I also use Azure subscription for 1 year? Mentioning LPU, they offer 100. Yes, you can do that. Saurabh, I think so. That should not be a problem, but please do confirm with the ODL team first. As a fresher working in an MNC startup, which is better to start a career, Hari, my personal favorite is startup because you learn a lot. As a fresher, when you start, you have that zeal, you can put up that extras, you can put up that extra grind that is needed to learn multiple different technology, experiment with technologies. So startup gives you a lot of exposure. So as a fresher, startup is something you can definitely think at. And then later on, moving in your career, when you have everything under your belt, understanding, working with different technologies, understanding why one technology is not good in one area, why it failed, why did you move into the next technology, which tools have you experimented with, and then moving into MNC lands you a very better opportunity, I would say. Is there any direct hiring for cloud computing job roles? Yes, Isha, there's a lot of hiring. So if you are certified in any of the cloud roles, you can just go to LinkedIn and push in that this is the certification you have, and you will get an N number of opportunities from different partners easily. I hope I was able to answer the questions and you were able to get a brief, or I would just basic understanding of how the solution is to your problems and where to start from. There are no more questions. There are a few questions. Professor Ajay, sir, which are with respect to in context of ODL. So I hope your team can address those questions.
Yes, sir, definitely. We will go through the question and revert back to the students also.
So if there are any questions, we can continue, and else, I think so we can call the session for the day, Asim.
Yes, sir, sure. So any other questions, student? If you want to ask, you may write on chat also, and even you can write down in the QA session.
Better would be Q&A, because with that I can answer it easily.
So I think, sir, we can end up, and even we can also give them the email ID so that they can also send if they have any questions through the email.
Sure.
So, okay. So my esteemed guests and participants, good evening. On behalf of LPU, I stand before you with the heart full of gratitude and appreciation as we will bring the curtains down on this enlightening guest lecture. Today has been a great day and immense learning, insightful discussions, and a wonderful exchange of ideas. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Mr. Sami Anand sir, for gracing us with his profound knowledge, experience, and time. Sir, your insights have truly been enlightened and have left an indelible mark on all of us. I request Semi sir, on behalf of Center of Distance and Online Education, to spare some more time for our students to deliver more lectures. Now,
Yes,
I
sir.
extend our appreciation to our seniors, Ms. Gini Jhavan, Senior Director, Mr. Manish Kumar, Director, Center of Distance Education and Online, whose unwavering support has made this masterclass possible. Your commitment to students, education, and knowledge sharing is truly commendable, and we are grateful for your continuous support and guidance. A special note of thanks goes to our organizing team, Ms. Parminder Kaur, Mr. Rohit, whose meticulous planning and hard work has ensured the smooth execution of this special class. Your dedication behind the scenes have not gone unnoticed, and today's success is testament of your efforts. Last but not the least, to all our attendees, both present here and those who have joined virtually, thank you for being a part of this journey, for dedicating your valuable time to be a part of this special class. Your enthusiasm, engagement, and thoughtfulness, or the thoughtful questions that have added a dynamic dimension towards session. It is your active participation that have made this session truly exceptional. We both, even the university and from the teacher's end, hope that the insights gained today will have a lasting impact on your personal and professional life. As we conclude this special class, let us carry forward the lesson learned and the ideas exchanged into our daily life. Let's continue to strive for excellence, embrace continuous learning, and contribute to the betterment of our respective fields and society at large. Thank you once again to everyone who have contributed to the success of this special class. Here's to pursue the knowledge and the promise of more enriching experience in the future. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Asim.